Now I'm going to give the floor now to Professor Dalia Kamel. Professor Dalia is a professor of physical therapy at Cairo University. Cairo University is one of the leading universities in Arab countries and in the Middle East and in Africa. She got a degree, master, and PhD from Cairo University. She is well respected academics and researchers in physiotherapy, in rehabilitation, and she has published a lot. So she will share with us also her perspective, so we will have more or less a complete picture, because you can see there's an echo of lockdown, long hours of screen watching, physical movement. So she is going to cover that, and then we will bring the three of them together and we take it from there. So Professor Dalia, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for giving us the time and you joining us from Cairo. Please go ahead, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Professor Alem, to give me this opportunity, and I'm welcoming all the attendees and as well as the respective speakers that already I enjoyed their talk actually and covered many points that I was planning to discuss, but thank you for taking this responsibility. As well as I wanted to appreciate the contribution of Lana and Sadiq in this event, as they are representative and well representative for their peers, while we are talking about very important topic about the children and the lockdown. Actually, this whole situation of COVID-19, it's catastrophic, as you mentioned, and it was a disaster for the whole world, even in the recent history, and we were not ready for such a pandemic. That's why it was a hectic situation for all the countries and the government. That's why they took this decision of the lockdown, and I can say it was unprepared, and we are not prepared already for it. That's why we faced a very hard time as a family, as well as the children. They faced the same situation with us. For this lockdown, it affected both the physical health and the mental health, as Dr. Amani covered the mental health. That's why I will concentrate over the physical part or the physical side effects of the lockdown. We cannot deny that the physical activity or the moving around was completely reduced all over the world from all the category of the society, the adults, the elderly, as well as the children. So we have this bottom line conclusion about the reduce of physical activity. But I wanted to take it from a broader point of view, as to take it with its different or different pictures or different variation. Firstly, I wanted to define what is the meaning of physical activity. Physical activity is the bodily movement, any body movement which needs contraction from our muscles and result in energy release or energy expenditure. We have different types of physical activities, the structured physical activity and unstructured physical activity. Or in other words, we can say organized physical activity and non-organized physical activity. With the lockdown, we reduced the structured one, which is reflecting the sport activity, to have like a coaching and restricted routine to do regular physical activity. This part or this form of physical activity was reduced due to, of course, the decision of lockdown and closing all the spa, all the clubs, social clubs, sport clubs, even all the leagues, tournaments, competitions, all of these shut down. That's why the structured physical activity was reduced. And on the other hand, the unstructured physical activity was increased. This unstructured physical activity, this is the self-determined physical activity that we determine by ourselves what is the form of activity we want to doing in, like walking, like biking, like board riding, or whatever any form of exercise we wanted to apply. But the difficult part about the unstructured physical activity, it's self-determined. So with the lockdown situation and restricting our movement outside, because some of the countries applied the lockdown in addition to curfew. So it gives more restriction to the movement outside the home. So that's give disadvantage that when we go to a physical activity, it will be reduced the desire, or okay, we can postpone it to later on, and ended up with doing nothing of any physical activity. On the other hand, this situation of lockdown is increasing the sedentary behavior. And this sedentary behavior is a lacking of physical activity, as well as changing of the eating behavior, as my colleagues highlighted in their presentation, that the eating routine was changed with a lot of junk food, unhealthy eating behavior, and this has a consequence, both the sedentary behavior as well as the lack of physical activity, to increase the obesity. I can say that a lot of people complaining from increasing their body weight, especially in the children, and we are fighting before the pandemic, the obesity pandemic. So what about the situation right now with increasing the pandemic in this lockdown? I wanted to highlight about, take it from a little bit optimistic way, that we wanted to not to take it for guarantees that the physical activity increased for all the children, or for all the people, I can say all the members in the family. No, we want to be fair enough that we have to look over the prior physical activity of this child or this person. What about the level of physical activity before the lockdown or before the pandemic? Maybe it's reduced from the beginning, so the lockdown will not affect hugely in this person in comparison to another person or another child who were engaging heavily in sport or organized physical activity. As well as the socioeconomic level, Professor Alem and my dear colleagues, the socioeconomic level also affecting the level of physical activity. The people with high socioeconomic level, maybe they are living in standalone houses with a playing background or courtyard. So this is there is a facility for the children and the family members to engage in some of the physical activities that may fulfill the requirements in this time of lockdown. But on the other side, with the people with low socioeconomic level, maybe they don't have this facility. They are living in multi-story building, and they don't have any access for gyms or exercising equipment. That's why maybe these people or this category faced a tough problem for keeping up with the required level of physical activity. But on the other hand, we may have like public gardens, public parks, may have a space or facility for doing such physical activity. I wanted to take a point that Dr. Amani raised about the family rules. She said the child is a mirror of her family, and this is completely true. So if the parents are physically active, if they are doing such form of activity or exercises or sport, so this will encourage, of course, the children to engage in this physical activity before and during the lockdown time. On the other hand of the lockdown and reduced the physical activity is increasing of the screen time. And especially Rimi said right now that we are going or converting to the online or remote learning. And this is a big problem. We may discuss it later on, but the screen time is increased due to the lack of activity outside the home, as well as going for the learning platforms. So this screen time, I'll take it from the physical impact, if I can say. Of course, the sitting in front of the screen for a long time to take either the learning classes or as well as to do recreational activities, it will impact the children in their eye. They will complain from eye strains, headache, tensional headache, neck problems, faulty posture, back pain, upper back pain. So by the end, they will corrupt their posture, and this is, of course, we are not looking forward for our children. So I'll give only one quick advice. It's a very nice advice about this screen time, which is called the 20-20-20 rule. So every 20 minutes, we should advise our children to move their eyesight away from the screen and looking for any object away from them about 20 feet, about 6 meters for 20 seconds. So every 20 minutes, look for an object away from by 20 feet for 20 seconds. I wanted to close my talk by 2 points. One important point, what is the recommended daily physical activity? This is according to the World Health Organization, as well as the French Agency for Food, Environmental and Occupational Health and Safety. For the children below 6 years old, they have to accumulate about 3 hours per day, any form of physical activity. So if we wanted to divide it over the day, every hour we can engage them in 15 minutes activity, and we have many forms of physical activity we can engage this young age and these. For the children between 6 to 17 years old, they should accumulate 1 hour or 60 minutes per day in form of physical activity, and twice a week in about 20 minutes muscle strengthening exercises. Because I wanted to highlight that lack of physical activity not only affecting the health, as I said, it will affect also the muscle strength, the bone strength. So maybe we'll end up with weakness of the muscles as well as weak bones or osteoporosis. For the screen time, also to be within the comfort zone or the safe zone, don't exceed 1 hour continuously for the children below 6 years old, and for the children between 6 to 17 years old, don't go continuously more than 2 hours for the screen time. Only one point optimistic I wanted to end up with for my talk, that this lockdown, it was a chance or opportunity to have like a health focus overview. It was a wake-up call for many of us to say, hold on, we want to have a look over the way of our eating, to go for eating healthy food and go into diet. And for the activity, we have the time, we have a lot of time. Why not to take it in or use it in a healthy way to do sport and engage our children in it? It gives us more family ties or time to look over children away from this race we are running it in everyday work. This is the talk I wanted to deliver right now, and I'm open for any question. Thank you.
Professor Dalia, thank you very much. Extremely complimentary, very nice talk. And I forget also earlier to mention that Professor Dalia has contributed in other fields to the World Association in different conferences. You got videos in the website, you can watch them. Now, let me start with you, Professor Dalia, because you mentioned two things. We had these questions going on, and he's already here now. I can tell you he's already here. So let's start, kick the question before I give the opportunity to the youngest, to you. Two questions being repeated across all culture. I know you are in Cairo now, you know the experience of the Middle East. You said you want us, we had an expert on nutrition, and he was talking about food, the diet. You want them to exercise, and you have already appreciated some of them, or some of us are living in a small flat, we can't move and all that. Food, particularly chips or crisps and chocolates. All families, all TVs, all the bits where they're talking, kids are consuming so much of them. Every parent agree these are not good food, no question. No one is going to argue. But even kids themselves at school, I'm sure Remy will ask her that question to comment. They've been told, even some school, they banned your kids to bring in this. But the real thing we are facing in our houses across the whole UK, across other many countries, kids are still one of the things parents are giving them in abundant, in many big quantities is crisp and chocolates. Some of them, they call it, actually parents, but unfortunately they give kids all of this, not to get rid of them, but at least that's one of way of calming them down. That's number one. Number two, you mentioned about 2020. I really like that 2020. But if you ask any of the parents before they ask you here live, they will say to you, we know that, professor, but we can't do it. When you take even, so do you have any tips? I know it's struggling, probably yourself is struggling in your house. Food is really not very difficult not to give them. And 2020 is very difficult to apply.
It's too difficult a question.
It's a very difficult question. Yes. That's why we start with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, about the food, we cannot deny that these snacks like chips, crisps, and chocolate are very delicious, and even as an adult, we like. But I have an idea, Professor Alam, and I am advising the people who are seeking to go for a healthy food or a diet. الممنوع مرغوب. I can say it in Arabic, then I translate it in English. الممنوع مرغوب. If you prohibit something, the desire toward this something is increasing and increasing. So modest or being in the middle or balancing the situation is the appropriate way to solve this situation. I cannot prohibit the children from eating chips or chocolate because there are temptation outside, and I am not with them 24/7. Maybe they are going to school in the regular days and they are seeing their peers eating these types of junk food. But to give them like a treat or with a regular regime is a solution from my point of view, to be in a balanced situation. Not prohibiting and not giving the all facility or all access to such type of food. This is my answer about the first question. The second question is 2020. Yes, it's difficult, but as long as I'm telling the child that after this 20 seconds, it's only 20 seconds to move your eyes away from the screen, and again, you will go back for the screen and continue whatever you are doing over your tablet, mobile, whatever. So no harm at all. It's like a practice. And the child or even the adult, because if we will look for the screen over the screen for a long time and try to look over anything away, you may feel blurred vision. So it's affecting all of us, and we have to apply it. And as we mentioned, the adults are the role model of the children. If we are as an adult applying this rule and giving them the models they have to follow, I think the application, it will be easier. But as Dr. Amani said, I'll not advise my child to move away from the screen, and I am looking at my screen. So why not we apply it both, so it will become like a practice, like a routine, and we'll do it every time we have exceeding this 20 minutes to keep our eyes in a good condition. So it's a hard mission, but we have to be involved. I'm reminding myself as a parent, and I'm giving the same advice.
Professor, just clarified, because people got very excited about this 2020. So for every 20 minutes they are on the screen of a mobile or an iPad, they have to look as far as 20 feet for 20 seconds.
That's it.
يعني بالعربي كده الطفل يشاهد في الموبايل 20 دقيقة، بعد ال 20 دقيقة انت عايزاه يقبل كده يشوف حاجة على بعد 20 قدم لمدة 20 ثانية.
Yes.
And then to do it again.
Okay. And continuously, if the child is below 6 years old, it's not exceeding 1 hour continuously in one episode. And
يعني
the people
less than 6-year-old do not exceed 1 hour.
1 hour continuously.
Okay.
For the screen use. Yes.
Okay. So we'll get to
2
this
hours
one.
for the elder.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Professor.
بنحلم بفضاء أوسع، بنحلم بزمن أجمل، بلاد ميلاد، بلاد ميلاد. ممتد لحد حدود الحد، وطن لا فيه